Man, I miss hockey. This feels a lot different than an off season because we should be watching meaningful regular season games right now and getting ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Let me know down in the comment section below, what have you guys been doing to keep yourself busy and get your hockey intake? Yesterday, I watched Game 7 of the 2009 Stanley Cup Finals in its entirety on YouTube and tried to pretend like I didn't know what was going to happen. As a Red Wings fan, that probably wasn't the best idea.
Mission failed. We'll get 'em next time.
Anyways, since the 2019-20 regular season is all but over the past couple of days, I have been making my end of the year videos. We did the MVP from every team, we did the best rookie from every team as well. So today, I want to talk about the breakout stars from the 2019-20 NHL season, and a quick little disclaimer, players like JT Miller and Anthony Duclair will not be in this video, just because I feel like I've already talked about them a ton this season and you guys are tired of hearing about them. But just know, I do acknowledge the both of those players, and when you're finished watching the video, make sure to let me know down in the comment section below if there's any players that weren't in the video that you thought should be, and let me know why. So with that said, here are the biggest breakout stars from the 2019-20 NHL season. And of course, if you guys are new and you want to see more NHL content like this, make sure to click that subscribe button, and let's get right into the video. I'll start off the video talking about Mika Zibanejad of the New York Rangers. He really made a superstar leap this season. Taking a quick look at his numbers last year compared to this season, last year he played 82 games and had 30 goals and 44 assists for 74 points, which is still very good, but this season he was on a completely different level. 57 games played, 41 goals, 34 assists for 75 points, and again, in just 57 games, those are some amazing numbers. Zibanejad actually led the NHL this season in goals per game at 0.719. Ovechkin was second at 0.706. That kind of just puts in perspective how amazing this season was for Mika Zibanejad. The last month or so of the season, Mika Zibanejad was honestly just playing out of his mind. Obviously, this amazing play included that 5-goal game that was really the talk of the hockey world for 24 hours. His play and the Rangers play in general towards the end of the season definitely has to get Rangers fans pretty excited for what's to come in the future. Obviously, hopefully you're going to have a healthy Panarin and Zibanejad next season. Adam Fox, Capo Caco, Anthony DeAngelo, those guys a year older. Igor Shesterkin as probably the #1 goaltender. I mean, this team has an extremely bright future. And when you take a look back at the trade that actually sent Mika Zibanejad to the New York Rangers, it just continues to look worse and worse for the Ottawa Senators. But hey, at least they have a bright future as well. Burakovsky had the breakout season this year that the Washington Capitals wanted him to have with them over the past 2 seasons, but it wasn't going to happen, and the trade that sent Burakovsky to Colorado was probably the best thing that could have happened for his career. Last season with the Capitals, in 76 games, Burakovsky had 12 goals and 13 assists for 25 points, and this season in 58 games with the Avalanche, Burakovsky had his first career 20-goal season to go along with 25 assists for 45 total points. That is a career high in goals, assists, and points, and again, it was in just 58 games played. This past offseason, Joe Sakic made it a priority to get some depth scoring behind the Rantanen, Landeskog, and McKinnon line, and he did exactly that, acquiring players like Jonas Donskoy, Nazem Kadri, and of course Andre Burakovsky, who actually was 5th on the team in points per game this season, only behind McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar, and Landeskog. Burakovsky is also only 25 years old and really could be a pretty big part of this team for many more years. It is a shame that Burakovsky's breakout season got cut short due to injury, and of course there literally being a global pandemic that canceled the NHL season, but if the NHL does return on schedule for next season, hopefully he can continue that play because the Avs could definitely use the depth scoring again. In Neil Pionk's first 2 seasons in the league with the Rangers, he was known as an offensive defenseman who definitely had his struggles in his own end, but he put that to rest this season with the Winnipeg Jets 100%. Last season in 73 games with the Rangers, Pionk had 6 goals and 20 assists for 26 points and had a -16 rating, and this season in 71 games played, Pionk had 6 goals and 39 assists for 45 total points and was a +10, and Pionk was arguably the most important defenseman defenseman on the Winnipeg Jets team. Pionk actually led the Winnipeg Jets in ice time this season, playing about 23.5 minutes a night, while a guy like Josh Morrissey played just under 23 minutes. However, that can be attributed to Neil Pionk being the quarterback of the first power play unit, and that unit usually stays out there for about a minute and a half out of the 2 minutes for the Jets, so he picked up a lot of extra ice time there. But still, he had an extremely impressive season, and I definitely think he proved a lot of people wrong. And I remember back when he was traded to Winnipeg in the Jacob Trouba trade, a lot of people said the Jets got fleeced, but they got Ville Heinola with that first round pick, and Neil Pionk played like a very, very good top 4 defenseman this season. Looking back at the trade now, I don't think any Winnipeg Jets fans will be complaining about it at all. Now, let's talk about a defenseman on the team that Pionk was traded from, and that is Tony DeAngelo of the New York Rangers. And if we're talking the best bang for your buck contract in the league, his might be the best. Excluding entry-level contracts, of course, and DeAngelo made just $925K this season, and considering the way he played, that's pretty unreal for the Rangers. Last season, DeAngelo played in 61 games and had 4 goals and 26 assists for 30 points, which is still pretty good, but this season, he really took it up a notch. 68 games played, 15 goals, and 38 assists for 53 points. This season, DeAngelo was an elite offensive defenseman for New York, and getting back to the contract, he's set for a new deal at the end of the season, and it's going to be a pretty big payday for him. At the time the season was suspended, Tony DeAngelo was tied for 4th in the NHL in points by defenseman with Quinn Hughes, only behind John Carlson, who had 75, Roman Josi, who had 65, and Victor Hedman, who had 55. That is some pretty elite company for a guy to be in who was literally playing in the American Hockey League in the 2017-18 season. And for a 24-year-old, he's bounced around the league a little bit, so it's nice to see him finally find a home and thrive in New York. Remember at the beginning of the season when Kevin Fiala served as a healthy scratch? Me neither. He made a lot of people forget about that very quickly with his play ever since then. He really turned himself into one of the go-to guys for the Minnesota Wild. Last season, 83 games played, and no, that isn't a typo, sometimes that happens when players are traded midway through the year. He finished the season with 39 points and a -23 rating, and this season, 64 games, 23 goals, 31 assists for 54 points. That is a career high in assists, a career high in points, and tied for a career high in goals. He also scored 23 back in the 2017-2018 season. And it is really nice to see Kevin Fiala finally bounce back. In the 2017-2018 season, when he had 48 points and 23 goals, he was seen as a future star for the Nashville Predators. But then last year happened, and things were kind of doom and gloom. And like I previously mentioned, even at the beginning of this season, things didn't look too promising, but man did he ever find his game throughout the year, and is now a big building block for the Minnesota Wild's future. And of course, he could have been pushing a 30-goal, 60-point season if the season hadn't been suspended, and it's impressive that his career high in assists and points came in just 64 games. I literally could not have made this video without featuring Bryan Rust. The improvement from last season to this season was honestly just ridiculous. 2018-19, 72 games played, 18 goals, 17 assists for 35 points. Those were solid numbers for him, but this year he blew them out of the water. 55 games played, 27 goals, a career high by far, 29 assists for 56 points, which is also a career high by far, and it was in just 55 games. He was over a point per game this season. I feel like people knew that he had a little bit more to give and could potentially be a 20-goal scorer, but I really don't think anyone saw this coming. Had it been a full 82-game season, he could have had 40 goals, which is pretty crazy to think about. And a lot of people will say, yeah, he plays with talented guys like Malkin and Crosby, but they weren't healthy for the full season. And Bryan Rust was a big reason why the team was still very good when Crosby was down with injury. And I don't really see him continuing to be a point-per-game player in the coming years, but 25 goals and 60 points is definitely realistic just based off of what we saw from him this season. He showed a ton of skill. And now to finish out the video, let's talk about Travis Konecny, who made a massive leap this season and actually led the Flyers in points. Last season, 82 games played, 24 goals, and 25 assists for 49 points, which are still some pretty solid numbers for a player his age. But like I said, this season he made a massive jump. 66 games played, 24 goals, and 37 assists for 61 points. The emergence of Travis Konecny this season for the Flyers, in my opinion, was definitely extremely important, and I think it took a lot of pressure off of guys like Sean Couturier, Voracek, and Giroux to produce all of the points. His play was definitely a big reason why Philadelphia had such a good year and finished with a record of 41, 21, and 7. And Konecny is only 23 years old, and realistically, I think the sky's the limit for him as an offensive player. He's very fast, very skilled, super fun to watch, and Flyers fans should definitely be excited about him heading into the future. That is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Again, it's certainly a tough time right now. I hope everyone's staying safe out there, washing your hands, and hopefully these videos can take your mind off some of that stuff for a little bit. It's a pretty weird time right now without hockey especially, but I'm still going to continue to make content for you guys. So yeah, if you did enjoy today's video, please make sure to go down there and drop a like on it. And if you are new and you want to see more NHL videos like this, make sure to click that subscribe button, and I will see you guys all in the next video.